this morning we're doing our first bridge, which is very scary.
Here we go.
The drone scratching.
I'm just happy that it's fun.
Woo! I'm done. Hey there, I'm Kelsey, that's Tim, and this is the story of our adventure. Life is fleeting, and we want to squeeze every bit out of it. We are wandering the world, so home is a bit of a moving target for us. We love finding the random, the remote, and sharing it all with you. So subscribe to get lost with us and hopefully find some inspiration to go after your own dreams.
Welcome back! We've been out here dodging fires and smoke and now rain and working really hard. We cannot wait to get back to the boat.
Yes, it's been an interesting week out here.
So last week we did a nice 100-mile day sail up to Southport.
Yeah, it went really well, and we dropped anchor as the sun was setting. It was beautiful, and we were absolutely stoked on sailing.
And exhausted.
And exhausted, yes. And in the morning, we decided that we could make a few more miles north and also maybe find a slightly more scenic anchorage. So that's what we did. All right, so this morning we're doing our first stint of the ICW and our first bridge, which is very scary. So we're just coming up to it now. So I'm not gonna film with this. We'll turn the GoPro on and cross your fingers that we make it underneath.
Go. Listen for the radio antenna. Yep. Not even the VHF. All right. Woo.
All right, we made it. That was so nerve-wracking. I think that I did not record on looking. I was looking up and I got so distracted with looking to make sure we weren't hitting that I don't think I got it. But we got the GoPro and we made it with, it looked like maybe a foot to spare, not much room, but we did it. And now we can breathe easier. Good job, Tim.
Woo! Here we go.
Whew, we made it. I was so nervous, as you can probably tell because I filmed my feet while we were going under. I was too busy staring up at the bridge going, are we gonna touch?
Well, and after you've been researching how bridges sink over time and you're going, well, how much? And has this one sunk?
Do
And
we
where
really
do I
know how tall our boat is?
Where do I find that info? But we didn't hit, we made it, and then we made our way up to a really pretty anchorage that was really close to the outlet we were gonna take to head north.
Yeah, and we got to go up the ICW for the first time, which was neat. We'd never really experienced that, so it was cool. And it was a great anchorage to spend a little bit of time.
Eight hours later.
Good morning, guys. I thought I'd show you where we got to wake up this morning. It is beautiful, and it's actually a weekend, so it's gonna be a bit busy, but it's calm so far. And yeah, we're in North Carolina, and it is beautiful here. It was so nice and cool last night too. Like, the weather is just so good. And the water where we are is clean. Not at the moment because I think tide's going out right now, but pretty soon it'll be nice. And yesterday we made some water, but just take a look at how pretty it is here.
When it forwinds me, I'll be waiting for you. I I'll wait till morning shows its dazzling glow.
Sometimes I can't believe that we get to wake up. The drone's crashing?
Yeah.
Is it over land?
Yeah. Critically low battery. .0% battery.
We got the drone back. Tim landed it on the beach, and we were able to go get it. So, anyways, I was saying, I can't believe we get to wake up here.
And I think our drone, it's been through a lot over the years.
Yeah, the
and its
battery
batteries
also.
now are the problem.
All's good.
All's good. We got it.
And there's coffee cake coming.
Oh, it's amazing.
Over the years, we've had so many close calls with the drone. Several crashes, but none that have fully killed the drone. But on the water, it's a whole new level.
Yeah, we're a moving target, and that makes things a whole lot more interesting. So we celebrated getting the drone back with a nice warm piece of coffee cake. Have I told you guys how much I love having an oven?
I love that she has an oven too.
It's awesome. So with a little bit more time here, we decided to jump into some projects.
Okay, so tightening up the rigging. Brand new rigging. We've had a lot of wind. I think peak probably 26, 27, and then sustained for a while in rough seas, so we're pitching all over. So, you know, you can see it puts a lot of stress on this rigging, and then I know it'll stretch in when it's new. How much, how do you know if it's stretched in, all that, we don't really know. So we just got off the phone with the rigger. We noticed on the downwind side, so the side that's not under tension, right? When you're hitting waves and it's under tension, occasionally the line would have some slop in it. Now it's not like coming loose. It just has clearly less tension on it on that side, which would be expected. But I was taking a video saying, is this too much? And he was saying, yeah, a little bit. So do 1.5 turns on the cap shrouds. That's the big outer one. And then 2 turns on the lower, which goes up to the spreaders up there. Sorry, all the words for all this is hard to come up with sometimes for us still, but I feel a lot better about it now. So I went ahead, super easy, just turnbuckles, right? So simple thing, and thankfully you can do it all from down here and you don't have to go up the mast. There is adjustment on the mast as well, and for the diamond down here at the bottom, and then the I think it's the minor and the superior or something like that diamond. But the diamond seems really taut still, and he said he wouldn't expect that to need a bunch of tightening. But these, he said he would. It depends how much you sail, so it's hard to say when you'll need to. But yeah, I just wanted to update you guys. Always something to do on a boat, that's for sure, but it always feels really good. I think there's just something about the fact that it's mechanical and working. And so like tensioning the rig doesn't seem like work. It just seems like, oh, I'm helping our house move through the water better. So it's like a combination of working on a vehicle, which was once our home traveling, and then also on a house. So, because it's more of both than the truck ever was, I think. So yeah, I think we're dialed in. And then now I kind of know what to look for. So if it's detensioning so much that you can see slop in the line, he's saying that's too much. But if you can just tell it goes a little slack, it doesn't have the same exact angle, that's fine. So somewhere in between it wiggling and just slightly detensioning is what we want, I think. What do you think? Because I don't know. So if you're a rigger or you've sailed your whole life or you've circumnavigated or something, how do you know? And I don't have the tool, and I'm not going to buy the tool unless I can find a really cheap one to check tension. But that'd be a great way. You just walk around with this tool, put it on the wires, check the tension. But the tool was like as big as long as my arm was and bigger for him to tension the lines and check the tension. So I don't think I'll carry one like that. But is there a tool, or is there something like a fish scale where you grab the wire and pull and a certain amount of give it should have? I don't know. Let me know. So with the rigging sorted out, I felt a lot better about the tension in the rig, and I've been checking the weather obsessively, and it looked like we needed to spend a little bit more time before heading north.
Which was okay. We got a little bit more rest, and it also meant more time for more projects.
Good morning. We've decided to stay here another day. As you can see, we look exhausted. But project, we have a saltwater rinse on the deck. You know, the boat is so crystallized with salt. Washing it down with salt water would still be a huge improvement. And as the tide comes in where we're at, it's crystal clear. Right now it's kind of nasty because it's outgoing tide. But I'd rather have freshwater rinse down. Now with a water maker, I feel like we'll have plenty of water. We don't use that much for showers and everything else and drinking. So it'd be nice to rinse the whole boat off with fresh water. So I'm going to try and tie into the line that's the salt water. Then the only thing this saltwater pump will be used for is actually powering water to the water maker. And we're using the one that was on the boat. Now there is one that came with our Seawater Pro that is this one. It's got 2 little motors in it. So for now, I'm just gonna keep it as a spare. This seems to be working really well, a saltwater rinse down pump to supply enough pressure and water to the water maker. But I'm gonna try and tap into the lines up here in this. I'm on the starboard bow area, and I'll show you what I'm working with here. Okay, so here's up in the bow, that's the saltwater pump right there, which right now we only have going to the saltwater rinse down and then the water. There was a tap on the kitchen sink for salt water, but we're never using it. I think we've been in nasty enough water that we didn't even really want to rinse dishes off with it. We just go to the transom, right? And we go to one of the sugar scoops and wash off our dishes there really quick and then do the rest with fresh water. So we're not really using it. So I took it off of the sink and put it just to the water maker. Then there's a T down here you can see. That T goes up to the saltwater rinse down on the deck. So I'm pulling it. I have just a little bit of this PEX left, this whale or PEX tubing. So I cut a piece off and just made sure it had pretty fresh cuts on either side. Looks like somebody cut it with a hacksaw, so it had a lot of plastic in the way. Cut a fresh cut of it, and then I'm going to install it here, and we should have a freshwater rinse down. It's definitely one of those projects that I feel like it's almost too easy. So we'll see. Maybe I guessed wrong on one of the lines, or maybe it'll leak. I don't know. I feel like this is far too easy, but I love that so far on this boat, every time I think I'm going to have to take apart a cabinet with a bunch of silicone and screws into the bulkhead or whatever that is, the wall, that I'm going to have to do that to get to the connections and piping. And then you just lay down and dig, and sure enough, you'll find much easier connection. So I'm really happy on this boat. Every time I dig for something, it's actually fairly accessible. So I'm going to put this in, and then we'll see if we have a fresh water rinse. And then the good news is in like an hour and a half, we'll have an incoming tide, so we can make water while using water to clean the boat. We had this, just a little shut-off valve, so we'll check it and make sure it's really working. And then we've got this Osculati washdown. Now, when we were looking at the boat, I swear we were able to turn on the saltwater pump and this shut off. Whatever was in there that was the valve that would naturally shut it off is clearly no longer in existence, because it just pumps water out. We took it apart even, and there's no valve in there, and there's no way that this would automatically shut off as these are supposed to do. So that's broken, but that's okay. If we put this valve in line when we want to use the washdown, we simply come up, open the valve, and then we should have the hose fresh water up here. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so no water should come out now because it's capped there. I'm gonna double check and make sure I capped in there. And then I wouldn't sit right in front of it just in case I screwed something up. But we should be able to turn on the fresh water pump now and have no leaks throughout the boat. And then where I tied into should be all good. And now our salt water should only go to our water maker.
Not spraying out, so I think it's good.
So right now it's not perfect. We'll have to open a valve in here each time, but I think if we just get one of the auto shut-off deck fittings, that'd be a lot nicer than climbing in here. But at the same time, if we don't trust the deck fitting, we don't want to lose all of our fresh water, like if we were away from the boat and left it on. So I might leave that valve in line as like a backup. And now the only thing leaking is actually this fitting, so I'll tighten that. Oh, we got a freshwater rinse down.
Oh, there's a lot of water coming out there.
Yeah, right?
We need our little hose bib on the end of that.
Yes. And I think I bought all the pieces to add that.
Yeah.
So we should be good.
Cool.
Woohoo!
So with that complete, we gave our very salty boat at this point a nice wash down.
Yeah, we went to shore to meet up with one of our patrons.
We're going into town today just to check it out. We've been anchored over there, back behind us. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what town this is, but it's cute, whatever it is.
Came back to the boat with moonshine in hand.
Yes.
And the weather finally said it was perfect in the morning to head north.
Yes, it was awesome. All right, we're picking up anchor this morning, bright and early, and heading north again. So, beautiful morning here, but we spent, I think, 3 days here, ready to leave. So we did our jump north up to Beaufort, North Carolina, which is a really cute little town. We visited with some friends, and we even got a random fireworks show that night.
It was awesome. And then we did the tiniest of sails out to Cape Lookout, which is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and we had a great sail too.
Totally.
It was awesome.
And it was a nice protected little spot to wait for the perfect weather to round 2 fairly notorious capes going north.
Yes. And that is where I found out that our freezer was no longer working. What are you doing, Tim?
Nothing. I'm doing some fault finding for this ice-sear fridge. It's super efficient, uses very little power, but thankfully when Kelsey was cooking dinner, she opened it up and she went, wait a minute, all that frozen, you can literally see where the cooling pipes run in this freezer. When you open it up, you can see right up to about here, everything is kind of like crystallized on the walls, and it wasn't. So she noticed it was off. So we've taken off this little cover. This almost always has a light on. It's either green when it's running or yellow in standby. Red means there's a fault or not enough power, I think. Nothing was on. So we checked that we do have power to these power cords right here. And so if there's power to here, it's an issue in here or in there. But I hope we can fix it. This thing's been amazing and it uses so little power. I'm really glad now, though, that we did buy this truck fridge. At times it felt sort of superfluous to have so much volume and to pay $700 for a truck fridge. It was a good deal, actually, but it's still more money. And so, you know, I'm very glad, though. We always thought of it as a backup, and so we just turned, you know, this entire thing of stuff defrosting into our little truck fridge. So let's see what works.
Don't see anything.
No, sadly. Okay. I'm really thankful for ICEER. ICEER is the brand name, Australian company, and they're very low draw freezers, but I know nothing about it. So thank goodness their website is geared towards people working on their own stuff. So I used all their troubleshooting guides, their wiring guide, and figured out what all these wires meant. And they even say, you know, if you have no lights on, it could be the switch. Jump these 2 wires. Does that work? No. Okay, then try jumping pin 7 and 8. Does that work? It didn't in our case. And while we're doing all this, we see that there's a little sort of basic fuse right there, and it's blown apart. So we don't know what problem we have somewhere upstream power-wise that caused this to blow. So I didn't want to just hardwire it, but we did put the wires together, and then Kelsey turned the power on, and boom, compressor came on just like it's going now. Light came on, so we know that that little fuse that looked blown was the issue, and if it wasn't on a boat that was our home, I'd probably just jump it, put the 2 together, worry about it later. But I don't want a fire on a boat. So we actually took one of the Toyota Land Cruiser fuses and just made sure it was a similar size amperage and wired in a couple of terminal connectors and used a Toyota Land Cruiser fuse. I don't know why we had that with us. I was grabbing stuff out of the truck to take with us, and somehow that got in accidentally. But so yeah, we got a little bit of Toyota in our Seawind now. But it's a similar amperage fuse, so if it blows again, we know we have bigger problems to worry about. And even since it blew once, we probably should keep investigating and figure it out. But, yeah, it's not a broken freezer, which is what I was really thinking it was going to be. I'm just happy that it's running.
Totally. So that little fuse that solved all our problems, I think has traveled around the world with us in our truck.
Absolutely. And we also found out that the fan that's attached to this freezer has never been working since we bought the boat. So that probably contributed to it overheating.
Yeah, and the freezer has been going strong ever since. So cross your fingers that keeps
continues.
Working. Yeah. But after fixing it, it was time to enjoy our surroundings and go for a little sunset cruise.
What are we up to?
Sunset cruise, or almost sunset cruise.
Yeah, not too far from Sunset Cruise. So we had to fix our freezer. We got it done. And now we just figured we'd go check out the area. There's a lighthouse back there we'll check out, and we'll see what all this is. Pretty cool. And what else?
There's also wild horses. We saw them as we came in, so maybe we'll see some more. Not a bad view.
Not bad at all.
Pretty cool.
Kelsey. Hello.
What a beautiful, beautiful sunset.
The best sunset to brush your teeth too.
Couldn't miss the end of it, so small. This spot was insanely beautiful and so quiet, but we did get a big blow, so we were happy that we trusted our anchor, and this was a great place to wait that out.
And the weather I'd been checking obsessively had said it was the right time to go, but we weren't so sure. We're new to this.
Yeah.
And so as we were leaving that anchorage, almost no other boats were leaving.
Yeah, we were like, oh no.
And there was like 15 boats, and they were all probably waiting to do the same thing as us. But once we got out, we noticed all the masts started moving, and we thought, yes, we did do
made a
it
good
right.
choice.
They are all leaving. And sure enough, we had a whole bunch of boats sailing with us, and that made us feel a lot more confident.
Yeah, this was gonna be, if all went well, our second longest passage ever. So we were doing another overnight, which if you guys have been watching, you know that was a rough one the last time we did overnight. So
Yeah, a little bit. And notorious Cape Hatteras.
yes. Good morning, everybody. We are just about to pull up anchor. The sun just came up over there. And we did a lot of prepping last night. So things like the window shades are removed. Tim did a lot this morning. What'd you do this morning, Tim?
I dumped our spare fuel into the tanks because it doesn't do us any good if it's in jerry cans. And then unzip the sail bag and we'll just raise the boom a little bit. And at least then we'll all be ready.
Yeah.
We got a motor out of here, of course, because it's so shallow, but just nervous because we've never done Cape Lookout shoals or Hatteras. So
It's a big day.
big day.
And it's going to be an overnight because there's not a great place to stop. So it'll be a overnight passage. Well, I'm pretty happy with Goose. He has caught up to 2 other monohulls, and right now we're beating up wind, so that's pretty impressive. We're in about 55 degrees to the wind, and he left the little monohull in the dust back there, and we're catching 2 others right now. So we're in about 7 knots, feet over ground consistently, so pretty happy. He's gonna come up right by us. You see him? Yeah, look at that. Right under us. Well, we made it through the night, and we are still alive.
Yes, we rounded Cape Hatteras. That was a little dicey, but
Yep.
it wasn't weather-wise. It was just reading about all the things to do and not do, hoping
Yeah.
you get the timing right with the weather.
And then kind of doing it at night where you're hoping that your charts are good.
Yeah, that too.
Can't see a whole lot.
Yeah, and there's so many boats. We're not used to that. Like in the Gulf Stream, there's nobody.
Yeah, we saw no one.
And so there's so many boats around and so many blinking lights that are hazards that you're going, is that a boat?
Yeah.
It's a red light, so that means they're off to our starboard, but is that also a buoy? Are we too far in? So it was kind of exciting just because it was new for us.
Yeah, no, it went really well. So we went around Cape Lookout and then Cape Hatteras. And now we are coming into, I guess, Norfolk. Huh?
Yeah, basically Norfolk area.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna go to Hampton,
Hampton.
home of the Hampton Inn and Suites. I
Oh,
think. Yeah.
okay.
That's what they're famous for. Yeah. Woo! Yeah, we'll see if we can still sail. We'll be going quite into the wind once we round this corner.
Yeah.
We have one reef in right now. It's been doing really well still. Somewhere between 7 and 9.5.
All right. 2 days later, we made it to Hampton, I think is the little town that we're outside of, and we've just dropped our anchor. And I thought I would show you what a mess the boat becomes while we're on passage, because you don't really want to do too much. So the lines are pretty clean because we're kind of anal about doing that.
Pretty good, pretty good.
We
can
got
clean up a few things.
Towels,
The boat's
sunglasses.
filthy in general, but it seems like it gets after every
Oh,
passage.
it's so bad after everything's so salty.
And then it's so windy as you're eating chips. Anything you're eating just goes throughout this
Everywhere.
back area. But yeah, we're wrecked. So we're
so
gonna
wrecked.
tidy things up enough that, like, you know, instruments are covered and all that, and then do nothing.
Yes.
It's gonna be great.
Sleep. But yeah, so just my handy bucket in case you get sick. Random assortment of cups. This is where we sleep, so this
Did you
moves
introduce
here.
them to your bucket the last time?
I don't think I did. I think I was too sick to introduce them to
They should probably get
Bucky
to
the
know in case-
bucket.
Yeah.
Bucky is my friend on passages, and he stays close by when it's rough. Nothing's really that different down there because we don't really go down there. It's just here, and then the kitchen, where any food or dishes that we've eaten goes in here. And I do not do dishes until we're done, unless it's very, very calm. So yeah, there's a little bit of cleanup, and then I don't know if you can see how amazingly salty everything gets after being on a passage where it's, you know, got a little bit rough, and so everything gets sprayed. But we made it, and I am so done. This is the very last thing that I'm doing. Actually, I'm gonna clean dishes because that's gonna attract a lot of flies. But then after that, I'm done. We did it, guys. We made it, and I'm happy to report I did not get sick, which is amazing.
Not at all. We were constantly trimming sails, and I think that occupied us a whole lot. And
We were
having all
racing.
these other boats with us, we're racing. And we beat all of them, except for one, which absolutely rocketed past us.
Yes.
But it was a super big confidence building exercise
It really
for us.
was. We did a night passage, and then we've done a night passage before, but we were out in the middle of nowhere. So
And
there
it was the
nothing.
first time.
Yeah.
So nerves were high. This time around, we
had
felt
to pay attention to charts
confident,
and lights and all sorts of stuff. So it was really neat. It built a lot of confidence for
Yep.
me.
So thank you so much for coming along with us. As always, although we love this office, we cannot wait
can't
to
wait
get
to
back
get
to
back
our
to the
boat
boat.
and our home. We have a ton of projects staged there for us. Join us next week when we're exploring the Chesapeake Bay.
Yes. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you so much. Special thanks to our patrons. Bye. So we just turned more into the waves. So it got quite a bit more rocky over I was thinking it looked really rocky right now. I don't think it's that rocky. I don't think it can find a horizon. What do you think? Jump!
Don't go! I want to be friends!